Hi, it's Nicole, and I'm back again with another version of Positive Impact for Mind and Body on Positive Impact Life. Nicole Fevrier Davis on YouTube or Mind Body Mastery on my Facebook page as well. Today, I'm speechless. It's very rare that someone renders me speechless. But when you've been running a business for so long and you've been trying to brand yourself for so long, and it just doesn't seem like anything is really clicking, nothing is moving in the right direction, and then you find, whoa, you find Market Your Genius by Nikki Nash. And I'm just so happy to say that I was thrilled to discover her on the Hay House Writers community. And she is with me right now. I can't wait. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Nicole. So great to be here.
It's so exciting to meet you, kind of in person, but online, I guess, is what I want to say. But I have been reading your book, and I am so impressed because there are about a million little details out there that I've always had questions to and always had misgivings about, investing in things that don't work. And you've just really made it very, very clear how to go about marketing your business one step at a time. And I just want to thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm so excited. What made you write this first?
Yeah, it's funny. It was two main reasons why I wrote this book. The first was very personal, and it was that I had write a book on my to-do list since I was probably 11. And it was like every, specific milestone, I'd say this is going to be when I write the book. Like write the book before you graduate college, and write the book before you turn 25, and write the book before you turn 30, and so forth and so forth. So I'll be able to say I wrote the book before I'm 40. So I one of those milestones. But it's just got to a point where I'm like, all right, Nick, you have to write a book. You've been saying you're going to do it for too long. And when I started thinking about what I would write, I had been an entrepreneur for a number of years, and I had been in marketing for over a decade. And I said, you know what? I mean, at the time, and I said, I'm going to write a book answering the questions that I get all the time from entrepreneurs, specifically when it comes to how do you get more leads, how do you get more clients, how do you, get all the social proof and the testimonials and the endorsements and things like that. And so I was really excited to sit down and just go, okay, if I were going to speak with someone about all of the steps to go from, hey, I have experiences, expertise, talents to, wow, I have a profitable business, what would that be? And it's very much what I worked with my clients on. And I decided to put all of that into a book so that anybody could pick it up and go, okay, this is what I need to do.
And I just want to point out, like, to the audience, that Nikki isn't lying when she says she has that much experience. I mean, her list of people she's worked with or brands she's worked with: Intel, InStyle, Travel and Leisure, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and there's more. And you can find out more about her on nikkinash.co. But that's one of the reasons why I really did appreciate this. I've read so many books about marketing and branding yourself, and they're all like, do this, do that. But the reality is, when you dig deep and you try to do those things, you're actually missing like some really key and crucial elements. And I wanted to ask you about that because I know there's a lot of yoga instructors. By the way, I'm just going to go ahead and post Nikki's link to her book. This book has an online course attached to it for free. So it's like it's a win-win-win. No matter what you do, you're going to get something out of this. But what I loved about it was that you kind of drill down behind all of those little things. Like, I know one of my favorite things was, know your audience. And I thought I did. And then I read your book, and I thought about how you worded things and how it was really kind of different than what I thought it was. So, when you are looking at your audience, you also say, get to know where they spend their money. What are they looking at? How much time are they spending on this? How much time are they spending on that? Are they going to expos? Are they going to conferences? And I just was curious, do you have like a specific go-to when you're looking for that kind of information? I mean, can you maybe advise us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the best place to go, in all honesty, for a lot of this information is to the source, like people who you would meet in life that you would say, oh my gosh, that's my ideal person. Ask them if they would spend a couple of minutes with you and chat with you, right? Like interview people. And when you're able to spend a lot of time with a group of people, you could do it in solo interviews, you can do a focus group. People do surveys and polls and things like that as well. But I love speaking with people because then I can, the journalist in me, I was an English major and thought I was going to be a journalist. That part of me is like, well, I have all these questions and I need to get inside like what is going on in your head. And I think that's honestly the best source. There's always tools popping up that will give you general information, or you can look at research studies or things like that. But I think the best place for most people to start is to find people and ask them specific questions.
And it goes back to also know your audience, because I think that's one of the big mistakes, especially holistic practitioners that might be watching now. What is another big mistake holistic practitioners might be making in terms of marketing their company?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is actually not sticking with a plan long enough. And I get it. It's hard because every time you turn around, there's something new. It's like, oh my goodness, everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on TikTok. What about Clubhouse? Should I be on Facebook? LinkedIn's making a comeback. And that's social media platforms. Then don't even get started on, oh, should I be optimizing my website for search so that I show up when people Google things? Or should I be using YouTube? Or should I be using Pinterest? Should I be using in-person events? It can get overwhelming. That's why I'm listing all of the things so that you get it.
Yes.
And as soon as something seems like a good idea, or somebody said, oh yeah, I've made billions of dollars doing this thing, people tend to switch and go, oh, well, so-and-so said that I should be using YouTube. And another person said I should be using Instagram Reels. And the reality is that all of these things could work for your business. They could. So if everything, in all honesty, if anything could work, then why not choose the thing that you, one, find exciting, that you will commit to, and that you're willing to do over and over and over again for the next 12 months minimally without focusing on anything else.
I love that. I love that because it is so true. You could literally spend each and every day 10 hours, 12 hours a day hitting all of those markers, Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube, and not get anywhere. And that's what I was doing. So I was like, thank you. I enjoy doing the podcast and things like that, but really I love public speaking. And that is where I get a lot of people to tell me, what they're looking for, what they're enjoying, or what they want to get more of, and things like that. So I do agree with that. That's like 100%. My business is a little different. I don't know if you know anything, but I'm a psychic personal trainer, right? So my business crosses over two different, I want to say genres or industries. One is personal training, and in the personal training world, people know me as a personal trainer. In the occult or psychic or esoteric world, people know me as a psychic. But I have found a considerable amount of difficulty in that they don't always cross over. So when you said know your audience and you asked those fabulous questions, I went back and I realized that maybe it's not necessarily personal training or psychic ability that I'm looking for. Maybe I'm looking for an intuitive yoga instructor, or maybe I'm looking for a physical therapist who just knows things about people but would like to grow and expand that idea, that kind of thing. And that was such an eye-opening experience for me. But I was wondering if you had any other advice for other people maybe who are, cross-culture. I'm also a Reiki master, so I was going healing, psychic ability, and personal training, and nothing was really hitting the mark. So I know that there are other maybe massage therapists out there who are artists. I mean, what advice do you have if someone is multi-talented and they're trying to market their brand?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is that for you to hit your business goals, and get clear on what your business goals are first, but for you to hit them, you probably don't need millions of customers right now, right? And so I would guess that there is, I'm just going to use really basic numbers because it helps with, lives, and I know how much people love math, but let's say you needed 10 customers, right? I am pretty confident that there are 10 people on this planet that are looking for a personal trainer who also are into, the spiritual realm, or into metaphysical, or who are into psychics, or who are, and you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
most people don't realize how particular they can get with who they're looking for. And you have this amazing opportunity to speak specifically to someone. Like, if there's a person who maybe already has a psychic and is looking for a personal trainer and didn't even think like, oh my goodness, it would be great if somebody intuitively or psychically helped me with my health and wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they heard about it, they'd be like, that is 100% for me. That so sounds like me. Then bam, you become the go-to person for anybody who is interested in that kind of space, right? And sometimes if you don't know where your person is hanging out or spending time, what I personally would do is I would choose the one that's most um I don't want to say specific or feels more like an outlier, but I'll put it this way. You'll probably find more people in a site, like in a I'm just going to say metaphysical because that's all I can think of right now. But in that community who are looking for a personal trainer, than you can going into a community of people who are interested in personal training and find somebody who also is into, somebody who's a psychic,
That's a
right?
good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Yep.
And
Oh,
so,
that's a really good point, actually.
yeah.
Think about it. Wow. Interesting. So it's like you kind of hone in on the industry that has the most potential for your need. And I do agree with that because the market's flooded with personal trainers now. I don't know if you look online, they're everywhere. And I mean, like, former accountants and models and, everyone and their brother's a personal trainer now. So I do agree with that, like perhaps going more towards the esoteric aspect of it and saying, oh, by the way, that's a good idea.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. My sister's a lawyer. She's also is licensed as a personal trainer because she lost a ton of weight getting into health and wellness. But what's unique and interesting about her is she does powerlifting competitions, and she's about to do her first strongman competition. So
What?
when she thinks about, oh, I may want to open a gym one day also, or do something along those lines, she wants to do it very specifically
Right.
for, I would say, probably like women who are into powerlifting or strongman competitions, right? Because it's very, very specific.
Yes.
And I think that's where people can see a lot of magic, is when they start very specific, and then you can grow from there. I'm not saying that you only go after one audience forever, but if you can focus on that audience until, let's say, you've occupied the entire market, like there's not one more person on the planet who would be into what you're specifically focusing on, then yeah, you can expand and grow from there and
Yeah.
help people in the next logical adjacent category, right?
I love that advice. It's like instead of trying to appeal to everyone, just appeal to the group that knows you and loves you and what you have to offer. I love that. That's fantastic. Um, so on the other end of this, okay, let's say you do hone in on a specific venue to market yourself, whether it's blogging or posting or doing YouTube channel or whatever. What is there, like a magic number people should hope for? Like, oh, I have to do this for 52 weeks, twice a week. So that's 104 shows that I have to do, or I have to get through 300 emails, or in your mind, I love and appreciate that you mentioned the year marker, because I think that does make a huge difference when you commit to something for a year. I was trying to commit to something for a year, and then COVID happened, and I was trying to support a local theater, and it was beautiful. I think I hit a mark. I was supporting another psychic, and that was a beautiful thing. But then COVID hit. So, I mean, in your mind, is there a specific marker, number-wise, that magic number that makes people want to come back for more?
Do you mean in terms of like how much content to put out into the world, or
Yes, like when do people start actually getting a response? Like in your experience, how many phone calls do you have to make? How many emails do you have to put out? How many blogs do you have to write? How many YouTube shows do you have to put up? What is there a number?
so I will say it's different for every platform, which like I have somebody who's an expert in the YouTube space, for example, and what she recommends is that people do 20 YouTube videos a month for 4 to 5 months before they start seeing like their YouTube channel spike. It's a ridiculous amount of content.
Wow.
Because she's like, and it has to be very specific content. It's a lot in a period of time before you see that spike if you want to move faster. And if you want to do fewer, it'll just take longer, is kind of the way that looks and works. And what I would say for anybody, whether they're going to use YouTube or podcasting or Facebook or Instagram or in-person events and things like that, is that there is a long-term kind of mission and goal behind things and a short-term mission. Like usually people want to see quick results, right?
Right.
Your fastest results are going to come from you picking up the phone, metaphorically or literally, and contacting people in your network and saying, I can help people do this. I am looking specifically for this type of person. Do you know anybody like that? I would like to offer them a free call or a free session or a free assessment or a physical evaluation or something. Because like it's going to come from, oh, my friend who I trust is doing this thing and she's solving the exact problem you have. You should go speak to them, right? Like that's the fastest results initially. And it is the most uncomfortable for most people. And the thing that people are like, no, I just want to post online. And I'm like, cool. It could take you 1, 2, or 3 years of just posting online before you get traction, right?
Good.
Because for so many reasons. One, most people don't post online consistently. Like you have to be consistent. And so whatever it is for your platform, you know, right now Reels are the hottest thing on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, you have to be posting Reels. Instagram said that they're basically moving Instagram into being a video platform. So you have to pretty much be pushing out video content every day. And that doesn't include stories because you probably need to do like 10 stories a day. So there's a ridiculous amount of content. And for people to see traction, you can't just do it for a week and then go, you know what? That was cool. I'm done. Like you need to do it consistently. And it's a lot. And so what I always tell people is choose your platform, your content platform, push out content consistently for a year, learn what works and what doesn't work, tweak along the way. And sometimes some people will see results and get clients really quickly. Some people will take 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. For me, I believe I got my first online client from somebody who didn't know me at all about 3 or 4 months into my business. And that came from webinars. It was 2 people that came from webinars about 3 or 4 months in. And then it took another 10 months before people came from just my Facebook lives and stuff like that.
Wow.
Right? So it took a while, but it's worth it. And once you start getting the clients coming from an online platform, it may be like nobody. Oh my gosh, person. But it could have taken you like a year or 2 years sometimes to get that momentum. And so I always encourage people to do the content consistently, almost expect nothing from it. Like make requests, tell people you'll hop on the phone with them, ask people to DM you, like act as if you're expecting results, but don't be attached to the results and do other activities like picking up the phone and, you know, reaching out to people as your way of saying, hey, I am going to really work to get clients this way. But it could take a while.
I love that you're saying this because I have often felt, you know, when I started my own business a few years ago, and I have often felt that I underestimated how much marketing there was going to be involved. I thought I spent 80% of my time, 85% of my time creating the services and the products when I should have been spending 85% of my time on the marketing plan. And then, you know, knowing that I had these services and products available, but I so much agree. And I think that's a huge thing that most people who start their own business or brand want to promote their own self brand. They underestimate that piece in a big way.
Yeah,
I have actually had a really good run with a lot of word of mouth people, but you know, it's just so important to keep on top of the marketing thing because like you said in the book, no one likes to be ghosted. Even when you do start, you know, getting out there and making your message known, it's not like, you know, you just can stop. And unfortunately, I had to take a break because I couldn't find a home to live in. So now I'm back on track again, but I did the very thing that you said not to do. And I just couldn't figure out how I was going to do a podcast in a basement. So
yeah, it's funny because I literally spoke to someone who's a family friend, and she writes children's books, and she's moving. She's retired. She's moving. And she's like, I just don't think I can produce more content while I'm on this move. And she said, people are telling me to repurpose content and maybe change a photo or change this. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm like, go through your feed, pick a post that's old, screen grab the image. If you can't find it somewhere in your Canva or in your phone, just take a screen grab of it, copy and paste the text and put it on there again, because repurposing even exactly the same content from like a year ago or 6 months ago or 2 years ago is better than doing nothing.
Exactly. I love that. And more often than not, like I looked at the views on my website, and more often than not, they're new people. So they haven't seen this from last year or the year before. They have no clue. So that's an excellent point. So now, you know, I just to change the subject slightly, we're in an area, and I don't know if you've experienced this as much as I have. In my industry, shock marketing is huge, you know, dramatic, this and that. You know, the more bizarre, the better. And I almost feel, I don't know, like we're almost due for a pendulum swing back. You know, like what do you see is the biggest marketing trend for holistic practitioners, like coming in 2022, let's say?
You know, I think, and this is for holistic practitioners, but I also think it's across across the board, particularly for people who are selling like their personal brand or like their knowledge or their skills or things along those lines. I think that so many people are over like manufactured copycat marketing. Like right when it feels like, and this is happening in a lot of industries, when it feels like everybody is doing the exact same thing, it gets old really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the more that you could show up as yourself 100% and almost do your own thing, the better. And so I'll give you an example. This morning, I went and did an Instagram Reels, and I have had a love-hate relationship with Reels because in theory, I really like it. But people are like, I'm like, I don't want to dance. I don't want to have to go and find trending music and then use that. Like, it's just, it felt overwhelming and like a lot. And I have this friend who was doing a ton of Reels, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because I know she's not like tech savvy and like a marketer. Like, I upload a video that's 60 seconds or less, and I put the title on it, and that's what I'm posting. And I'm like, I'm going to try that, right? So I went live yesterday. I took 60 seconds from it that I was like, this is a solid tip. I put my title on it and I posted it. And it's so unlike what most people are doing right now in my industry on Reels. And it got like over, last time I checked, or I'll put it this way, I posted it at 6 a.m. Eastern. By 8 a.m. Eastern, I just checked because I'm like, I'm sure nobody saw this. I posted it at 6 a.m. It had over 1,500 views.
Wow.
Like, what?
I do agree with that, but I will say it's the same rule. Before I had to take a hiatus over the summer, I was doing something called a Mind Body Mastery Minute, and it was starting to pick up. And I would get like, 120, 130 views. But I think because I took that break, yeah, definitely dropped down. But it's just so hard when you move. But I agree that's a fun way to get some views up there and get a following that way.
100%. And my main point is that from a trend perspective, trust your intuition and your instinct and just be real with people. And people are really liking almost like face to screen like this right now. Like I am talking to you and I'm just going to talk to you and I'm going to look at you. People are loving that content more than anything else because it feels real. It feels like they're with you. It feels like you're speaking to them. And I think that's what's going to trend more, where it's less gimmicky or, fear factor or like all that stuff. And it's just like, hey, listen, my name's Nikki Nash. I'm going to tell you this. Most people are going to tell you that if you do a webinar that you can get millions of clients in 2 minutes. But here's the real deal. Most people have to do about 100 webinars of the same webinar 100 times, or maybe even 50, to figure out what the heck is working and tweaking it along the way before they have that thing that works, right? And so don't do it once and then give up because you didn't get $1 million results, even if they told you their step-by-step framework. Because
Right,
that
right.
framework came looking in the rearview mirror. They didn't have that framework day one. They built it after they did it a million times. And you're probably still going to have to do it a million times for it to work for you. Bam, video done. Like, you're just like, listen, everybody's lying to you. Here's what's real. I'm going to tell you because I've got your back, and in video, or end of story. And I think that's more of what people are looking for. And I
Right.
honestly think that's why so many people have resonated with my book, because I'm just like, hey guys, here's the deal.
But though, every time you go on Instagram or on Hay House Facebook page, you do resonate a really, and you talk about this a little bit in your book, a really authentic presence. It's not like, hey, I got 1 million followers and I could show you how, like, you're very authentic, you're very honest and open. And I think that's very attractive, A, but B, it's also, we feel we can trust you, and that comes across in a big way. So yeah, definitely, I agree about not going to the manufactured content, because my biggest issue, I don't know if you've heard this before, is usually people in marketing are marketing to or for other more, I want to say, left brain dominant businesses. Like, I own a printing company, I own, a company that provides carpeting, or I own whatever it is. They're marketing to other businesses that are like theirs. So that was my next question is, should a new or small business, or someone who's trying to really make inroads in their marketing efforts, should they hire someone who knows their business, or should they hire someone who actually is kind of just like familiar but really good at marketing? I mean, what do you look at when you're looking at that?
So I believe that the person should understand your industry and what you're about. And the reason I believe that is because I'll give you actually a great example, and I'll use myself. I worked at a number of Fortune 100 companies, and I've worked for a number of Fortune like 100, 200 brands. The way that I worked and marketed when I was inside of Intel is so different than the way that I market my own business. And I was a really good marketer. I won awards for marketing. Like, I freaking wrote a book on marketing. You know what I mean? Like, I know marketing, but it's like I wasn't really good at helping entrepreneurs until one, I started teaching entrepreneurs, and I had to learn all their problems and get all up in their business. Then I worked at a tech startup and I was head of marketing. We had to figure out a whole lot by ourselves. And then I did it for my own business. And it was those things that made me realize what works for specific industries that I'm in very differently than others. Right now, like, I can help people. I mean, I want to say it this way. That's my personal belief, is that you want to find somebody who gets your industry, because there are nuances, and otherwise marketers will likely choose something that they see is trending and working in general and try to apply it to your business, and that may not be the best solution.
Yeah, sincerely, that's why I literally have not invested in a marketer or a publicist, because I just don't feel they know my industry. And then the people that do are like $10,000 a month. So, I mean, how do you find the balance? Like, what would you do? I mean, people have said to me, "Oh, hire a college student, hire someone on Fiverr." What would you do?
I'm a believer of a couple of things. Hiring someone who is greener, like maybe a college student, maybe somebody who's a couple years out, but bring them into the industry. And it's almost like, in general, I believe marketing's not that complicated. I know I'm biased because I've been doing it for a long time and I've probably learned a ridiculous amount. But at the highest level, marketing is going, hi, person who doesn't know me. Let's get to know each other and let me educate you on why I am the best person to solve your problem.
Right.
And here's my solution. Do you want to buy it? Like, that's, to me, marketing. It's getting people, getting leads, getting people to register for your, webinar or virtual event or whatever you're doing, getting
Right.
people to book calls with you if you have a call strategy. And then that's marketing, right? Getting people to know you exist. Those things are marketing. And I think that if you can train someone, if even if they're not if they're either an expert on marketing and they're not in your industry, I still think you can work with them if they're willing to come into your business and understand how it works before they do any marketing. And so for me, when I look to hire a team, I'm literally like, you can come work and do marketing, but your actual homework before you do anything is I need you to read my book and I need you to like watch my videos. I need you to understand what the heck it is I'm doing because I don't need more ideas. I need somebody who can help me get results and who understands what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish and who we're speaking to. And so I think that's what's most important. And the answer will be different for each person. It may make sense to hire someone that's just really good at marketing if you're going to work hand in hand with them and be like, I know the industry, let's partner. That works. I think that if you have somebody greener and you're like, hey, I'm going to teach you the industry and you're going to learn marketing along the way and I'll pay for training or courses or things for you to skill up, that works. But I'm a big believer that you have to have that combination of understanding the industry, understanding the audience, and understanding marketing for things to work.
So that being said, how many clients do you have in different areas? Like, who are you working with right now that kind of represents your clientele?
Yeah. So the one thing I will say, and my answer was actually very specific for if somebody's going to do marketing for you. I don't implement for people. So what I do is I work with people and they may be in different industries because I have people in health and wellness. I have people in like relationship advisory or coaching or counseling. And I have people that are financial planners and people that are coaches. So that's different.
Right.
But we come together as a partnership where it's like, I know marketing, you know your industry. I'm going to teach you marketing and you're going to make advice and decisions based on your industry. And then if you want to run things by me, you can, but I'm going to ask you a ridiculous amount of questions about your industry so that I know if my answer is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just to let the audience know also that Nikki has an abbreviated version of what she typically asks her clients on that online course. So that I found that very interesting as well. The only other thing I was hoping to touch on was the difference between marketing for online courses. I personally am developing a series of weight loss meditations online because I was channeling information, but it's all anyway. So I have like meditations online courses, and then I also have one-on-one clients, and I also have corporate clients. So like, what's the difference between marketing an online thing versus a one-on-one thing, or a where you go in and do a training or give a talk? Like, should we be looking at that differently, or does it kind of all flow in the same pattern of, like you said before, choosing your platform to market and then sticking with it? Like,
yeah. So every product you have, I want you to pretend is a new business, and you have to do all of the steps from the book over again. Now, that doesn't mean that I'll say this. It doesn't mean that you maybe won't be finding clients on Instagram for all three products. What it means is that you have to look at it independently to figure out what you would do on Instagram and how you would speak differently independently, and then bring it all together. Right.
okay.
And so I typically recommend that people have one product at a time until they have that marketing figured out before they launch a new one. Because, for example, just high level, what I know about, like, and this is just basic business stuff, but if you have one-on-one versus group versus online courses or meditations, your target audience will probably be slightly different for each one, right? Like somebody who wants to invest and wants one-on-one wants a high touch experience. They're probably looking for different things when they're making their buying decision, right? You'll probably have to educate them more on certain things. They probably care more about, what's your personality and things like that, and maybe want to get on the phone with you. So your pathway to getting someone on the phone with you will be different than if I'm selling an online course or program and maybe I have, an evergreen webinar, or maybe I just have a bunch of YouTube videos, and in each video I mentioned, by the way, if you would like, a guided meditation on this, look at the link below and you can buy my online course, right? There's so many different things that you could do. And so I always encourage people to do the exercises as if it's a completely new business, but you may end up having one plan and like slightly different activities because of the different products, but you should make each plan independently first so that you know that you're doing the best thing for that product. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes, yes. I mean, I know like personally, whenever I give a talk, I do very well at getting one-on-ones and selling online courses. You know, like it's just something that, oh, you muted yourself, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, I did that on purpose.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean that has been kind of a boon for me. But like I said, with COVID and everything, it was a little more difficult. But I totally agree. I mean, there's so many like delicious, delightful things in your book. I can't say enough about it. It's just been such a wonderful, wonderful discovery for myself. I also, if you don't mind, I just have so many questions. I also was wondering if you could kind of encapsulate very quickly, like how you see a marketing calendar a spread. Like, what would be, or do you feel like it's a highly customized thing? Like, you should just go through the steps and discover what is right for you, or is there like a rote plan that you prefer over anything else?
Yeah. So I think everybody's marketing plan or calendar will look a little bit differently. But if you want like high level steps that I would have someone go through, the first one would be get really clear on what success for the year looks like for you. So, for example, if my goal, I'm making this up and I'm just going to use crazy numbers, but if my goal was to have 100,000 email subscribers by the end of the year, right? What I have to do to make that happen is going to be different than if I said, I want to make $100,000 from a $10,000 product, because then I just need 10 clients. And those
Right,
are very different goals and objectives, right?
right,
And so, what the activities I would have to be doing are different. And so I have people start with what are your goals? Really, like, I like to have 3 to 5 goals for a year. Sometimes in specific years, I've had up to 7, but it would be because some of my goals were like launch book, right? Like they were very specific, and I didn't have to worry about certain things until, it was like lunchtime or I had to start writing or things like that.
right.
And so start with your goals. Then once you're clear on your goals, I would brainstorm what are the things that you believe you need to do to accomplish those goals. I'll give you an example. Let's say I know that I want to sell 100 online courses for meditations, right? I need to sell 100 of them. And I reverse engineered how I think that's going to happen. And I said, if I do 10 webinars, I should be able to get 100 people to say yes, right?
Mhm.
Well, then the first thing I would do to make sure that goal happened is I would schedule on my calendar, when are those 10 webinars happening, right?
Yes.
And if
Yeah.
I wanted to a step before that, I probably, because I do this with my calendar, I write in first, what are all the days I'm taking off so I don't accidentally try to schedule something while I'm on vacation. And I
Right.
also put in, are there any big holidays or things that are important? Like I have a client who works in the editorial space. November is memoir month, right? So it might make sense to do something around memoirs in that month for them, right?
Yeah.
So put those types of things on the calendar, put your vacation on the calendar, and then go with your goals and put any big milestones or events on the calendar. Like I have to do 10 webinars. When are they happening? And
Right.
then gradually back out from there. Okay, well, if I'm doing 10 webinars, I maybe want to make sure that I'm promoting the webinar for a certain period of time before then. Put that on the calendar. So that's the general high level process, but it helps to have in the book, like follow the marketing plan, create your marketing plan, and then go into the detail of the calendar because that's more granular.
Yeah, I do, and I do love how the book is laid out. It's a very specific pattern. I found myself, I don't know, I just love the content so much that I found myself like devouring chapter after chapter after chapter, and then I went back, and then I did the first exercise in the first chapter, and the second, et cetera. But I just think for anyone owning a business, for anyone who is attempting to promote and market their own brand, this is a wonderful, wonderful book. It's just been such an exciting thing for me to find because, like I said, these have been questions I've been asking myself for years. Like, all the things that we just talked about and more. But it's just such a pleasure also that it came from a package like yourself that is very good at communicating, very concise and precise about your language. And that is really what illuminated a lot of this process for myself. And I know you too will also enjoy it when you read the book. Any events coming up that we should know about?
So I am about to release a wait list because I'm having an event in December, but I don't want people to buy tickets yet because I'm doing a Black Friday and Cyber Monday promo for it. So I don't want people to like buy the ticket and then be mad. So what I'm doing is I'm letting people know, you can get on the wait list, and then the second the promo happens, you will be the first to know. So that I do have a virtual event happening in December, so stay tuned.
Oh, yay!
And then I'll have like another thing happen in January, like a new year. Like, let's get your business activity in motion. Let's get some
Okay,
momentum.
so it's still a secret. You can't say it's. I have another thing happen.
Well, you know what it is? It's because it's on. I plan calendar things in pretty far in advance, but I'm like, if I tell you guys about it and there's no place for you to go, you're just gonna be like, Nikki, why did you even tell me about this? I have no place to go. But if you, in all honesty, if you join my email list or if you get the book, you can easily join my email list when you sign up for the companion course. That comes with it for free, and then you'll get all of the details and information. Or if you just follow me online, I will absolutely be talking about it. But there's stuff that just haven't been announced yet.
Okay. No, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. Is there anything else you'd like to include in the chat right now before we sign off?
Yes. So one thing I wanted to share with everyone, and I'm actually gonna. Oh, whoops! I just typed your name. That's not helpful, Nicole. I was trying to copy and paste something, and that didn't work.
By the way, is your full name Nicole, or has it always been Nikki?
So my full name is Nicole. I am Nicole Nash. I have not gone by the name Nicole since I was probably 2 years old, maybe even younger. So I don't answer to it. It's actually really funny. There was 1 year in college where I wanted a change, and so I went by Nicole. But then it felt so weird because I would forget to answer people because I've like nobody calls me that. The only time I get called Nicole is when I'm in trouble. And so I really prefer like I just go by Nikki.
It's so funny because growing up, I felt the same way. Everyone called me Nikki, and then I got married, and everyone called me Nicole, and I felt like an alien. And then, so now anyone who calls me Nikki, just like spontaneously, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. the tales of Nikki's.
Yes, tales of Nikki's. But I just sent it to you because for some reason I couldn't leave it in the comments.
Oh,
But
wow.
right now my book, so it's on sale on Amazon. Like not just it's on sale on Amazon. I mean, there's a discount on Amazon right now. It's on sale a lot of places.
Okay.
But what I'm doing for people is if you grab a copy of the book called Market Your Genius on Amazon, and you got either the ebook, which is $1.99 US right now, or the audiobook or the physical copy, whatever floats your boat. And you send an email to marketyourgeniusbook@gmail.com with your receipt. The first 10 people who do that will get a free 60-minute call with me.
60 minutes. You're so generous.
Yeah. It's fun. I like talking to people. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I'll let you in a little secret because we talked about it on this call. People are like, whoa, why are you giving so much of your time? I'm like, because first of all, the people who are getting this call already purchased my book, which means they're going to spend time with me, like in the book and getting to know me. And I would like to know who's picking up this book and understand what they're dealing with, what's going on, because it's almost like I'm helping you, but it's also kind of like market research, because when I understand if people keep asking me the same questions or they're going through the same challenges, then I clearly know what I should be creating to help solve those problems for people. And
That's
so
awesome.
it's like part like let me give back and reward people, part driving sales of book, and then part market research. So fun filled secret behind the scenes tip for everybody here.
I would love a 60-minute consultation. I mean, like that would be high on my list of like, let's get this in my calendar today.
Yeah.
So I hope this does generate a lot of that kind of activity for you. Anything else you want to leave us with? Any jewels of wisdom that we've missed?
Oh, I would just say with folks, keep your plan and your activities as simple as possible, because you can easily get distracted by so many things that are happening. And I get it. I was that person. I got easily distracted by all of the things I could be doing to grow my business. But what I realized is that when you do less and you do it better every day, like you just get better at doing something, you'll get better results. It's almost kind of like, jack of all trades, master of none is kind of the phrase that came into my head. It's like if you really focused on one marketing channel at the beginning, just to get momentum until you realize what worked, what didn't work, what you're going to do. Then you can create systems and structures and say, hey, I'm making this up. But if you were wondering how frequently should I post? Well, post frequently and then see which days work best for you and then decide that's when you're posting, right? Like you can adjust your plan, but you have to do things enough and see what's working and not working in order to make decisions.
Exactly. I did the same thing, and I actually wrote down what things got the most views and what things were most. Yeah. So I hear you. But that was just like from like stumbling through it, not because I had your book and I was able to see it. You're also lucky that you have this in a book form that you can just read. But yeah, that's awesome. Okay. I don't want to, I know you're very, very busy lady. I don't want to keep you forever, but thank you so much for joining me. This was just such a delightful time I had with you and listening to all your wisdom. Thank you, Nikki.
Oh my goodness, you are so welcome.
Well, I'm going to sign off, and thanks, Nikki, for joining me here on Positive Impact Life. Please feel free to email or contact me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Nicole's MBM if you have any questions. And of course, visit Nikki on all of her websites, buy her book. It is an exceptional book. I'm so excited to be having her as a guest. I hope you get as much out of it as I did today. Thank you and blessings. Love and enjoy your mind and body, and we'll talk to you real